Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Shannon, and if you are not new here, then welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me. So today I am 25 weeks and 2 days pregnant. I fear we are coming to the end of the second trimester very quickly. And I just wanted to do a little pregnancy Q&A. I love to chat to a lot of you over on Instagram quite a bit, and there was a lot of questions on there. So instead I opened it up to everyone and put it all over my story that I was going to be doing a Q&A, and you guys have delivered. First of all, if you did ask a question, then thank you very much. Obviously this video would not be here without you guys asking your questions, so thank you for your input. There is a lot of questions on here for me to answer. I am worried that I may ramble, and I know you don't really want to watch a very long video of me gassing, but I'm gonna try to do my best and answer as many as possible. Let's see how many I can get through today. The first question that's come up actually quite a bit is, did you plan to have the baby? Was the baby planned? Questions like that. In short, no, the baby was not planned. However, you could argue that we weren't doing anything to stop it. So if you've been following along on the pregnancy journey so far, first of all, thank you. But you will also know that our original plan was to actually move to Australia for at least a year. Ryan had a job booked over there, so we were going to go and do that. And then literally a couple of days after we applied for our visas and got the grant, we found out we were pregnant. So it wasn't planned at all. I came off of contraception a very long time ago now and haven't been on contraception for the entire duration that me and Ryan have been together. If you don't know mine and Ryan's backstory, then me and Ryan were actually together back in, I think we met in 2014. We were together between the ages of like 16 and 19. So when we were really young. And so we'd always talked about what our future would look like even back then. So when we got back together back in 2023, I don't know, my baby brain is crazy right now. We knew that this is something that we always wanted to do. We didn't know when. We just knew that having a family was definitely in our future. So yeah, we didn't really use anything per se to stop this from happening. I have the Flow app on my phone, and that kind of told me when my periods would be, when my ovulation would be. So we kind of based everything around that. And to be fair, because we'd been doing it that way for 2 years, we'd kind of convinced ourselves that we wouldn't be able to conceive naturally. Obviously, we were never trying or anything like that, but we'd never really had any pregnancy scares as such. And we kind of just assumed that something might have cropped up at some point, and it just never had. So I think we were kind of under the impression that we would have to do things a bit differently if we wanted to create a family. And we'd even had the conversation of when we get over to Australia, what our next steps would be after maybe having that year coming back, or whatever it is we chose to do. We would consider going for a fertility test. So we'd already had that conversation. We were already in the mind of, do we think this is something we could do naturally? Is this going to be possible for us, sort of thing? So it's safe to say we were pretty shocked. But yeah, you could argue that we didn't do anything to stop things, I guess. But we did not plan to have a baby at this time. However, plans change. Another question is, where were you when you found out? How did you find out? And what were your initial reactions? So the two of us were together. We found out together. We'd had conversations about this before as well, where I'd asked Ryan where he would want to be if I ever took a test. And he's always said that he wanted to be with me if I ever felt like I needed to take a test, and experience that with me regardless of the outcome. The story is, we were at Ryan's nan and granddad's, which is where we lived at the time, and I went into the bathroom, took the test, and then obviously waited for the timer, and I was like pacing up and down Ryan's bedroom, and he was like, why are you taking this so seriously? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, something just feels different. The timer went off, so I went back into the bathroom, checked the test, and the test said pregnant. So the first one that we did was just as simple as pregnant or not pregnant. That's what it would say on the test, and it said pregnant. And I think my face was something like, I think I was kind of doing this and maybe just like crying. I was still in the bathroom, but I turned round to face Ryan, who was in the bedroom, because it's like an ensuite bathroom, and I was just sort of hand over mouth, shaking my head, crying. I don't know why I was crying. It wasn't a sad cry. It wasn't a happy cry. It was an oh my God cry. And he just sort of sat on the end of the bed and he was like, no. And then my head turned from this to this. Then he come and checked for himself and we kind of just like had a cuddle and we're both sort of laughing and crying at the same time because neither of us knew what to do at this point, which was really funny. And then we kind of took a minute to process it. We, at one point, were just both laying on the bed, like staring up at the ceiling in silence. And then every now and then Ryan would go, are you okay? And I'd go, yeah. And then I'd go, are you okay? And he'd go, yeah. And then we'd sit in silence again and then we'd check in on each other again. It was funny. After that, we did have the conversation of, false positives are a thing. So we went to Tesco. We bought 4 more tests. I think someone's actually asked me, how many tests did you take? I put a picture on my Instagram and there was like loads of tests on there. We picked up 4 more. We went back to Tesco and we picked up 4 more tests. So in total, we took 5. When we came back, I did the other 4, TMI, but I did it a little bit easier so that I basically like weed in a pot and then stuck all of the tests in the same pot. So I was like, I'm not gonna be able to pee 4 more times right now. So I did that and then left them all on the toilet seat and I said to Ryan, I was like, you're checking it this time, so I can't do it. So he went in there and he was like, okay. And I was like, what? Like, what can you see? And he was like, well, like, he just didn't really have anything to say. I was like, is there not even like a sign of like, maybe it's not? He was like, no. And then I went in there to have a look and like all the lines were the strongest lines you've ever seen. So yeah, that is where we was and how we found out and our initial reactions. It was also Father's Day when we found out. So it was the 15th of June and I had plans to go and see my dad. So I was also like, okay, I need to go and somehow act normal for the rest of the day. But it was quite funny, really. So somebody's actually asked me, what made you think you were pregnant? And then somebody has also said, what were your initial thoughts as to why you might be pregnant? So what made me say to Ryan, can you pick up a test please, was basically I was late on my period. At that time I was really irregular with my periods. I don't know what was going on and I'd had some really awful periods. I'd even been to the doctors about it. There were times where I was like a week late and I'd taken tests before, not really for a pregnancy scare, just to rule it out because I knew something was going on with my periods. So I was very irregular at the time. And then because I even said to Ryan, I said, oh, can you pick up a test please? And he was like, we're not doing this again, because I'd done it the month before. And I was like, no, like something's very different this time. I was a week later than what my longest cycle was. So when I'd been late before, it wasn't because the app had told me, you're late, take a test. It was because I was later than my period was scheduled to be. Whereas this time I was a week later than what my longest cycle had been. And I think my longest cycle at this point had been something like 42 days. It was really long. I was having some rough times with my period. So I said to Ryan, I was like, no, we are a week later than I've ever been late. So I was like, something's wrong. And another thought behind it was that, probably TMI to the lads in the room, my boobs were hurting a lot. And I know that's a normal symptom for a period. So that's why it's really hard for women to know whether they're pregnant or if it's just a period symptoms, because all the symptoms at the beginning are practically the same. So I don't know, something just felt different. It felt off. And I just said to Ryan, like, I'm really, really late this time. We need to take a test. So I asked him to pick one up. Somebody has asked, do you have a birth plan or are you nervous for birth? Yeah, I'm nervous for birth. I don't really have a birth plan as such, but I have like preferences. This is actually something I started thinking about pretty early on. I don't know if it was because I was just really worried about it, and my thoughts and feelings haven't really changed. They've just progressed because I've been learning more as I've gone along. I'm nervous for birth. I'm very scared of needles and things like that anyway. So if I need any sort of pain relief, I don't know if that's actually going to help me. At that point, I'm probably going to be like, just give me the drug. So I don't think it's really going to matter that much that I'm scared of needles at the time. But I would really like to try and do it naturally without anything. I really want to learn some breathing techniques and do a bit of hypnobirthing. I have a hypnobirthing class coming up because I really want to just prepare myself as much as possible. I would really, really like a water birth. That's the only thing that I'm like pretty set on, and I know that that would be quite hard because I know the availability is pretty difficult. I really want to be up and active during labour. I want to be moving around. I don't want to be laying down on my back. I just want to be up and moving and stretching and with an exercise ball and doing as much as I can. And then, yeah, like I said, preferences for pain relief. If I don't have to, then I won't. They are basically last resorts for me, but I'm not like absolute no. But that's all I really have. But as for being nervous about it, yeah, I'm nervous. I've also got a class for me and Ryan on birth and labour, just because there's a whole section about how your birthing partner can help you. So I really want Ryan to be as clued up as possible, as much as me, just so that we can just best prepare ourselves in there, and hopefully it will go as smooth as possible. Next question. Have you had any strange cravings? I actually haven't. One thing that's come up often has been jam. So quite early on in my pregnancy, I just wanted jam. I didn't care if it was in a donut, on toast, on a scone, in a sandwich. I didn't really care. I just wanted the jam. And then later on in my pregnancy, maybe like about a month ago now, I asked Ryan to pop to the shop on his way home from work and was like, can you just get cake? Like, I don't care what cake, just get cake. I just felt like I wanted sweet treats. And at the beginning of my pregnancy, I didn't really care for the sweet treats, which is shocking for me because I always like a sweet treat. I'd get to the end of my meal and I was like, no, I just don't really want dessert. That was never a thing for me. But then going into the second trimester, my sweet tooth has definitely come back. And then, yeah, there was like one night I just said like I wanted cake. And then he came home with like 3 different boxes of Mr. Kipling cakes. Bless him. We'd gone to the bakery section, everything. And just nothing was cutting it. And then the next day we went to Ryan's nan and granddad's for lunch, and they had made a Victoria sponge cake, like a homemade Victoria sponge cake. And he told me, and he was like, do you want a slice? And I was like, yes. And he cut me the biggest slice of Victoria sponge cake, and that was it. That's exactly what I needed. Literally hit the spot straight away. And then I haven't really craved it since. And then I'm thinking, well, that has jam in it. Maybe it was the jam that I needed. Maybe jam's my craving. I don't really know. But I do often crave crap food. Like, I will just randomly have to get myself a Chinese takeaway because the minute I've thought about it once, nothing else will work. And I will be so miserable for the rest of the day if I don't do it. At the beginning of my pregnancy, I really wanted anything cold, citrus, anything fruity. So it's definitely more sweet than savoury, I would say. Whose reaction shocked you the most? I don't think anyone's reaction really shocked me. I think I was more thinking about how I would shock them. I would probably go with Faith's reaction because I was under the impression I was going to shock everyone. I was probably the last person on the friends list that was going to be getting pregnant next. So I think I just felt like I was going to blow everyone's minds. And then 2 people told me they knew. Rosie told me they knew, and Faith told me they knew. Rosie, I kind of expected a little bit, just because I spent so much time with her around that time. I was like, if anyone's going to get it, it's going to be Rose. So that didn't shock me massively. However, when Faith turned around and said she knew, I was like, how? Like, how have I been that obvious? But then she told me the reasons as to why the signs were there and everything, and it did kind of make sense. I'm just not a very good liar, but I did manage to keep it from everybody else. But maybe Faith, I would have to say that she shocked me because she said that she knew and I didn't expect her to know. Has your hair and nails got thicker and stronger? No. I don't really know about my nails. But then again, when I got my nails done, Shan did say, you know, they're growing really well and they are very strong. So maybe they're getting stronger. My hair, I was told, was going to get thicker. And I've actually been struggling with hair loss. You might not think it because I have like a head full of hair, but I've always had thick hair, and whenever I've been in the shower I always comb like the conditioner through my hair, and I do pull out a lot of hair. That's not abnormal for me, but I have been pulling out a lot more in the shower, and then a lot more regularly, like just every day, like I'm just molting a lot. It has actually started to really worry me, to be honest. I did mention it at my 25-week appointment, which we've had recently with our new midwife, and I asked her about it and she was like, it's not uncommon. But yeah, I've actually been dealing with the opposite when it comes to my hair. I feel like I've been losing it quite a lot just throughout the day. Like it will just be look, it's just attached to me, falling off all the time, and I'm just like, just stay in my hair, please. But yeah, I would like that to stop. That would be good if that could stop. Thanks. Have you found it hard to learn your new admin job role whilst pregnant? So for those of you that don't know, I am cabin crew, but obviously because I'm pregnant, I am not allowed to operate. So I have been given a placement, which is a work from home job, and it's like an admin role. It's been quite nice. I'm glad that I chose to do it because I could have chosen to not have a placement, but I'm glad that I chose to do it because I think I would have driven myself insane doing nothing for this long. But people talk about this thing called baby brain, and I really struggle with it. I don't know if I struggle with it more than the average, but I am so forgetful. I zone out all the time. Like, people will just be talking to me and then I'll be like, what did they just say? Like, you know when you read a book and you get to the bottom of the page and you think, I wasn't even reading that. Like, that's me every day whilst talking to people. So then sometimes I'll ask a question because I'm confused about something. I'll get a response and the response is so clear, but I still won't get it. I am finding stuff like that quite hard. But overall, I enjoy it and I'm glad that I have chosen to do it. Staying on the topic of work, somebody has said, do you miss flying and do you think you'll go back to it? I do miss flying. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy being at home. And then sometimes when my cabin crew friends will say like, I'm in LA this weekend, and I'm just thinking, oh God, I actually couldn't think of anything worse than having to go to LA this weekend. But yeah, I do miss it. I do miss the lifestyle. I miss going and seeing new places and exploring all the time. And I do think I will go back at this current stage, but I can also understand that when baby comes, I could think totally differently. I have every intention to return to work. I'm not calling it off, but you just never know how you're going to feel. As a first-time mum, like, I'm never going to know how I'm going to be in that position. So I could see myself maybe going part-time. I'm part-time already at 75%, but I could see myself bringing that down a little bit, maybe doing 50%, just so that I'm not away from home too often. I mean, yeah, I have every intention to return to work. I just don't know at what capacity, but I also can appreciate that my feelings could change massively come February next year. So we will see. How are you feeling about becoming a new mum? I'm very excited. I think I've mentioned it already, but my dream job has always been to be a mum. Like, I've always seen myself as a mum. So I'm very excited. However, because that is my dream role, I do have all those thoughts and feelings. I'm like, what if it was my dream role and then I do it and then I don't enjoy it as much as I think I was gonna, or I'm not as good as I thought I was gonna be. So I am struggling with questions like that. I am doubting myself every now and then, and I'm feeling very nervous. I want to get things right. I'm also quite scared about losing my identity, because I know a lot of women talk about they become a mum and they are mum. Everything else goes out the window, and I still very much want to be me. I want to be doing my hobbies. I want to be traveling. I just want to do that with the bonus of being able to do it as a family with Riot and with baby. So I am scared about things and how things are going to change. Someone's also asked, is it a weird feeling seeing your body start to change? Like, that kind of all rolls into that. I'm worried about not being able to return to my original body shape afterwards. I know a lot's going to change, and I'm willing to accept it, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also very nervous that I won't be happy with the end result as a person, not as a mum, but like me and my identity and how I look and how I feel about myself. I am nervous about all of that. So I mean, it's inevitably going to happen at the end of the day, and all I can do is work hard to be the person I want to be on my own and as a mum. So I will do my best. We'll see how we get on. On the back end of that question about, is it a weird feeling seeing your body change? I've also said, and starting to feel the baby move. That has been very weird. And even as I'm talking to you now, there's a lot of rumbling going on in my belly, and it's not because I'm hungry. It is very strange. When I first felt it, I was like, what was that? But now I've sort of accepted it, and they're slowly starting to create a pattern. There's certain hours of the day that they're usually quite active, so I look forward to those times and things, but it is a very weird feeling. It's even weirder when you see it on the outside. Sometimes it will just be like so big, my whole belly will just go like that, and I'm like, whoa. And even Ryan's caught it a few times now, and we're literally like, what is happening? Yeah, it's pretty weird. Okay, so another question to go with the how I'm feeling about becoming a mum is, what are you looking forward to most about becoming a mum? I'm looking forward to having little cuddles. But I'm really looking forward to that quality time spent with them, spent with Rye, watching them grow up, watching them like start their hobbies and things and find their interests and their favourites, their likes, their dislikes. That would be really nice. I'm just looking forward to them slowly becoming like this whole person. Somebody asked, have you had any sickness? I did quite well on the sickness thing. So obviously nausea and sickness is a very common symptom at the beginning of the pregnancy. So usually in the first trimester. I did okay, to be fair. I felt sick every single day and it was horrific. But I only threw up once or twice. There was a lot of little sticky burps and things going on in there. And the thought of, even the other day, actually, it hasn't stopped because I was cleaning my teeth and I was just like, hold up. And I paused like for ages and Ryan was like, are you okay? And I was like, and I had to really concentrate in order to not be sick. And I did find that a lot in my first trimester as well. Like I found myself sort of like trying to get into a zone because I have such a phobia of throwing up that I had to really focus in the hope that I wouldn't be sick. But I actually think, looking back, if I'd have just thrown up, maybe it would have felt a little bit better. But yeah, I did very much struggle with nausea and sickness, but nowhere near as much as some do. Even what I went through wasn't fun, so I can't imagine going through any worse. It wasn't nice, but as far as sickness goes, I didn't struggle as much as most. What Disney character do you think will be Bump's first love? I don't know. We've got ideas for a lot of Disney bits in the nursery. Someone's actually asked me as well, what's the theme going to be for the nursery? We don't really have a set theme, but there are going to be lots of travel kind of bits and adventure bits in there because obviously that's something that we love to do and that we'll encourage for them, but also some little Disney details in there. Ryan's a really good drawer, so we're hoping that we can put him to the test and he can create some like homemade pieces, which would be really cute. So he might do some Disney drawings on there. We thought about having some Peter Pan bits in there because my favourite childhood film was Peter Pan and he loves Peter Pan as well, so that would be quite nice. The mobile that we like for the cot is a Winnie the Pooh one that we found, so maybe they'll venture towards Winnie the Pooh and they'll love them. There's a few more, not got many more. Do you have a preference? So I think that's in regards to boy or girl. We're obviously not finding out the gender as much as we can help it. Ryan really wants to know, so I do feel kind of bad, but I really don't want to find out. I really like the idea of Ryan being able to announce it in the delivery room and sort of having something else for me to focus on would be quite good. So yeah, we're not finding out the gender, but as preferences go, I don't have a preference as long as they're happy and they're healthy. But I have always pictured myself with a girl, and I've always pictured me and Ryan with a girl as well. Like when I've pictured our future, it's always been with a baby girl. I don't know why that is, and I do love the idea of having that mother-daughter bond. I don't know if it's because I grew up with a sister. I've never had a brother, so maybe that's why. Like maybe the idea of two girls sounds nice, but I mean, mother and son love is so sweet as well. So I don't have a preference. As long as they're okay, I'm okay. I don't mind. Have you thought of any names? Yes, we have. I probably won't put them on here. I've spoken to my friends and family about some. We're not set on anything yet. I think Ryan has a favourite boy name. We definitely have more options for girls' names than we have boys' names, but we're more confident on the boys' names than we are the girls' names, if that makes sense. But we're not set on anything yet. Are you going to breastfeed? I'm going to try. I like the idea of being able to share the feeds. I don't really want to be doing that on my own. I don't want them to be clung to me. I'm not one of those people who loves the idea of breastfeeding. I know a lot of mums are very, very set on it. I'd be happy to do either way, but I do appreciate that with breastfeeding comes a lot of health benefits for baby, a lot of health benefits for me. So I am more than willing to try it, but I'm not going to be disheartened if I can't provide it. My ultimate would probably be to pump. That way for me, they're getting the best of the best, but me and Ryan can share the feeds. I'm on the lookout for a good pump, guys. I did actually buy one already, but if there's any mums out there that have got some really good recommendations for a hands-free breast pump, I want a double whammy, then yeah, let me know. How has Ryan been through your pregnancy? He's been really good. He has not missed an appointment. I'm sure there's going to be an appointments coming up soon that he's not going to be able to be there for, especially like the midwife appointments that are quite regular. There's not often much that goes on in those ones. The one that we had recently, we actually heard the baby's heartbeat for the first time, so I knew I wanted Ryan to come to that because I didn't want to do that on my own. I wanted to experience that with him. But yeah, as far as midwife appointments go, if there's a blood test, I'd really like him to come with me just because of my phobia of needles. I would say I'm happy for him not to be there, but I think he wants to literally turn up to everything. But if he can't get it off work from now on, then it is what it is. Obviously, scans he will always be there for. He is holding my hand through the entire thing. He's been a dream. He's given me plenty of back massages. He's great around the house. He sorts me out with food. Yeah, he's been really good and he's been really supportive. So I can't ask for anything more from him, really. I've just seen another one. Do you think it's a boy or a girl? So I've said that we're not finding out the gender of this baby if we can help it. Both me and Ryan have no clue. We'll often make jokes where I will say I think that it's a girl. Ryan will say that he thinks it's a boy. And like, we'll go and look at clothes and Ryan's like, oh, if we knew the gender, we'd be able to pick that out. And I'm like, yeah, well, you can get the pink one if you want because we know it's going to be a girl. And he's like, shut up. So we have jokes about it, but I think it's more just a bit of play between us. Like, we enjoy being sort of against each other because it makes the end result more interesting just to see who's going to be right. So that's kind of fun. We haven't actually sat down and done like the old wives' tales yet. So I really do want to do that. And I will make a video on that as well, where we just go through every single old wives' tale and just see how many marks we get for girl and how many marks we get for boys. But I think we're pretty 50-50 to be honest. Neither of us are certain. Neither of us have a gut feeling. We're just playing around really. And then the final question, we've got to the end. Sorry, I have chatted your ear off today. Will you be putting baby online? So me and Ryan have actually had this conversation already. We really want to continue with YouTube and like make it a priority starting now, but even more so when the baby's here and when we're able to travel and things, because this channel is predominantly a travel channel. We do want to do lots of little adventures and exploring, and we'll take you with us on everything. We've had the conversation as to whether we would be happy putting baby on the screen, and I am happy to. Ryan is also happy to. We understand that a lot of people will feel differently, but I mean, it's our baby at the end of the day, and if we feel like we're happy to put them online, then we will do. We'll probably keep certain things to ourselves and maybe not throw it in baby's face, but I think we're gonna just concentrate on the travel aspect and the lifestyle aspect and things. Maybe not show too much of the private details and like the behind the scenes kind of stuff, but if we're going on a holiday and baby's involved in that holiday, then baby will be on screen. Again, when baby's here, our views could change massively. We wouldn't know that until it comes to it, but I'm open to having them on the screen. Ryan's also open to it, but we'll just see how we feel when baby's here and we want to do some vlogging. But that is all of my questions. I think some more have actually just come through. Pants. Oh, I think they're questions I've already answered actually. Oh, this is a nice one. Let me add this one in quickly. What childhood memories of yours do you want to recreate with Bubba? That's a cute question. So we have a lot of traditions when it comes to Christmas. Like my family have always done a cinema trip on Christmas Eve. So I'd like to continue that with them. We also used to do Boxing Day panto. Like that was a must do when we were really young. We've grown out of that a little bit. We've still done it a couple of years, but it's not been a set tradition as such. But I would really like to bring that back in when baby's here. That'd be really cute. There's actually a page on here in my little journal that I've got next to me. I think there's a whole section on that. Oh yeah, and another one I wrote down was our annual Cornwall trip, because obviously every year me and Ryan have been able to go to Newquay in Cornwall for a little holiday together, and we would like to continue that with baby. That would be really cute. I don't know if we'll manage to do it in their first year because we have Orlando booked for September, so I don't think we're going to be able to afford both, but we will see. But I would like to continue that tradition because that's a tradition that me and Ryan have made together, so it'd be nice to continue that as well. But that was a nice little one to end it on. That's really cute. Right, that's all of my questions, guys. Thank you so much for asking your questions. Like I said, this video wouldn't be here without your input, so thank you so much for that. If you have any other questions, then feel free to ask me down in the comments or even give me a message over on Instagram. I'm happy to chat to you guys over there as well. But that brings me to the end of this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye.